Hi everyone, here we are for part 5 of the tutorial, and yes, this is where we tackle the really fast bit. You know what? Let's not keep you waiting and let's have a first look right now. That's about as close as I can get it at the moment. I really would have loved some more time to get it really up to Tommy's speed, but if I practice this lick for one more week, my girlfriend, my son, my daughter, the dog, the goldfish, they are all going to leave me. So I hope you think this is sufficient to allow me to explain it to you. So there is your biggest challenge in this part, and at the same time, a warning, practicing this section can be extremely annoying for whoever lives at the same house as you do, or so I have been told multiple times over the last few weeks. As my patrons roll by, I want to make a small confession, but please let me first welcome Tom, Ivan, Dieter and Dietmar as the new top tier patrons first. If you want to support me and gain a load of extras in the process, then please check out the Patreon link down below. For separate contributions, there is a PayPal donate link down there as well. I have been in doubt whether I would make this lesson or not, because honestly, I don't like teaching things that I haven't fully mastered myself yet. If this had been a separate tutorial rather than the 5th part of a series, I wouldn't have completed or published it. That fast run you just saw took me weeks to get to that speed, and it is still not as fast as Tommy plays it. So yeah, I'm the first to admit that I still have a lot of work to do to really get it myself. In order to be able to play it at higher speeds, I have to make sure I warm up properly, I play the lick a number of times and block out everything else. If I don't do that, things get messy. So that is why I decided to include the up-tempo version in the beginning of the video to show that I can get close, so I don't have to worry about that during the tutorial. That way I can lower the tempo drastically when explaining and making it doable for myself. There is no secret to this fast run, it simply takes a lot of time and effort to get it up to speed, and I strongly recommend you only try this if your picking technique is already somewhat established. I put in a lot of time and I still feel like it isn't there yet. Although I have played electric guitar for years, I have been confronted with these types of runs before, and I have a technical background that helped me. And that made me think a lot of fingerstyle players probably haven't got this technical background, and building it up so you can play through this section will take a lot of time. So I also thought of a little workaround for those that have learned all the previous parts, but who feel now like this is never going to work. So at the end of this tutorial, I included a workaround, a shortcut that will guide you from the opening section of the 3rd bridge straight into the slower breakdown section. You can use this workaround in 2 ways. Either you use it to skip the fast part completely, never to look back, or you can use it as a temporary solution until you get the fast part down, allowing you to play through the whole song every now and then. But even with that shortcut, you do have to learn the first 8 or 9 bars of the bridge, so let's have a first look. Okay, so let's start with the opening of the 3rd bridge. So this is the easier section, but as you know, easy is a relative term when it comes to Tommy's music. Now, let me play through this one time, just a little bit below concert speed, and then we'll just pick it apart piece by piece. Here we go. It's straight into that fast section. Now let's have a look at that opening section, or at least the opening of the 3rd bridge first. You're starting in front of the 1st beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where that first E chord lands with an added 9th. Now in some recent versions, I also noticed that Tommy sometimes leaves out that pinky. So he just plays a plain E chord. So if this is difficult, especially the 2nd time around, when you have to move down really quickly, it can be a bit easier just to leave out that pinky and play a plain E chord, play a plain E chord. I should have looked that up first. So that can make it easier. Let's have a look. So you're starting on that first E added ninth chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's basically the only fill, 2 strums up and down and another bass note. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Landing with the plectrum on the bass note on the third beat. Then it's on to hybrid picking. Tommy goes for a 6th, 4th fret on both the G string and the E string, playing this with the ring finger and the pinky. And in a second you will have to slide up really quickly up and down with the pinky. Just the pinky up and down to the 5th fret and back without moving the ring finger. 3, 4. Moving to the index finger. Another bass note in between, open string and another bass note. Now the placement of these bass notes seems different in each version Tommy plays. The melody on top is the same thing every single time, so the way he plays this with the slide up and down and the fingerings is always the same, but he likes to put some variations in where these bass notes are landing. So if placing 2 bass notes underneath that melody seems a bit fast, then just go for 1. This is how I transcribed it from his latest version on YouTube. 3, 4. That's the first 2 bars, moving up to the 5th fret again with the ring finger and the pinky, just moving up that fingering. To the 5th fret again, hybrid picking on the G string and the E string. And then we're ending up with a long winding run, and Tommy does not seem to play a bass note underneath this in any version I have found. So you are playing that last bass note right there, and then as soon as you play this 6th interval, then you have to make sure that that low E bass string keeps ringing out all the way through the next 2 bars. So make sure not to touch it accidentally. This is how that run goes. 3, 4. Back to an E chord, or as I said before, if you don't want to, or if you find it difficult to switch quickly to that E added ninth chord, just play that plain E chord. Okay, let's have a look at that run. So you're ending up with that 6th on the G string and the high E string, 5th fret. And I also noticed that Tommy leaves that ring finger down as long as possible to keep that note ringing out as long as possible as well. This is the fingering, starting out with the pinky on top, to the middle finger on the 4th fret, to the index finger on the 1st fret, and again sliding up and down really quickly. 3, 4. And then just to open strings, open E string, open B string, 3, 4. And then when you play that open B string the second time around, that's when Tommy lets go of that 5th fret on the G string, only to grab it right away yet again, but with the index finger. So you're just replacing that ring finger with the index finger. 3, 4. And this is a long arpeggio. Basically with the plectrum you're just playing B string, G string, D string, A string, and then going back up. As always, I'm using sort of an economy picking approach. Up, 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 down, 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 up, down for the chord. So only that last open B string is an upstroke, so the hand jumps up and you have some room to get that next chord in right away. The fingering is just as you would play an A minor bar chord without using the bar at all. So just an open E string, open B string, index finger 5th fret on the G string, pinky 7th fret on the D string, ring finger 7th fret on the A string. One more time, that full run. 3, 4. Back to the E chord down below. Sometimes Tommy likes to put an open E string in front of that, so he sometimes likes to leave out that last open B string, so he swaps that out with an open low E string to give that first chord a bit more of rhythmic push, but you can sort of figure it out how it works best for you. This is how it sounds with the full arpeggio, 3, 4. That's without the extra bass note and with that last B note included. Now with the extra bass note, 3, 4. The only thing that I changed now is I left out that last open B string and played a low open E string instead, just to sort of anticipate that first low E chord again. Now, make sure that you keep that low E string ringing out underneath that whole line. 3, 4. See? Those were the first 4 bars. Let me play them back to back, starting just 1/8 note in front of the first beat. 3, 4. We're ending back up on that E chord, whether you play it with the pinky or just the normal E chord. And then we're moving into a rhythmic figure in triplets. So in front of the beat, the chord, 3, 4. You're aiming for the third beat, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And you're landing on the third beat. Tommy uses all upstrokes for this section, so no up and down strumming. So he goes 3, 4. All upstrokes across the whole section. 3, 4. Moving to a very simple fingering, index finger on the B string, 5th fret, pinky, 7th fret on the high E string, and make sure you mute that G string if you're strumming this, so that G string doesn't sound open, because that is really going to clash. You need an E major sound, and that G natural would give you a E minor sound instead. So make sure you sort of prop up your index finger against that G string so it cannot sound out. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That is sort of the timing. All long triplets, quarter note triplets across the whole bar. 3, 4, 1, 2, 1. Again, landing on the first beat. It's really hard to count this along while playing. If you play it sort of more on feel, you probably will get quite close really soon. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that's the next bar already, and it's sort of a variation on what we played the first time around. Going back to that 6th interval on the 5th fret, really quickly sliding down to the 4th fret, again using hybrid picking, plectrum and middle finger, to an open E string, low E bass string, moving back up to the 5th fret, and then again we're going to play the exact same run we did in the first 4 bars. The exact same thing. The exact same thing we did before, then we're moving into a different chord. First, let me play that second bar, again, really slowly. There's not a lot going on, but coming from that first bar with those long triplets, the rhythm can maybe seem a bit confusing. I'm going to try and count along all the way through. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. then the timing of that next bar is something you really have to pay attention to. That F note isn't landing on the beat, it's landing right behind the beat. So if I count along, you get this. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, a chord right in front of the beat. Let's have a look at that fingering first. Tommy is preparing the ring finger and the pinky on the 3rd fret on the A string and the D string, and he's moving in the thumb over the side of the neck. 3, 4. And then it's just all open strings underneath that. 3, 4. Adding in the middle finger, yes, and the index finger on the 1st fret and the 2nd fret, giving you an F major 7th chord with that high open E string. 3, 4. That's the full rhythm. Now the strumming and the picking in this part aren't the most difficult thing. Like I said, it's mainly the placement, the rhythm on when that F bass note will land. As soon as you really feel that it's not landing on the first beat, and everything else is probably going to click quite soon. But the fingering with the thumb over the side of the neck, up until this point, we have always been able to get some sort of alternative for that. You could also use in this section the same alternative we used in one of the previous bridge sections, namely going for the index finger for the bass note, and then as soon as you need the rest of the chord, try and avoid the bass note and just strum the chord, maybe propping up the thumb along the side of the neck to mute the open E string. Would sound something like this. 3, 4. I'm just putting the thumb up the side of the neck to mute the open E string, but like I just played it, was without the thumb over the side of the neck, without the low bass note in the 2nd bar. One more time. 3, 4. Now I left the thumb behind the neck, so you could really see that I'm not using it at all. So this could be an alternative again for this section. We're almost there, we're almost arriving at that really fast section. Let me play this part really slowly, and then we'll have a look at the really hard part. Here we go, one more time, those first 9 bars back to back with each other. 3, 4. And then on to the really fast part. I'm going to play through it. I'm going to lower the tempo right away. And there is one really simple explanation for this. I did play it fast or almost up to speed in the intro of the tutorial video. And the reason why I did that is when I sort of put this into the intro all the way in the front, I could take my time warming up, getting it up to speed, drinking 6 Red Bulls and 3 coffees, and then going for it. And whenever I'm, as I am now, explaining things and not really completely warmed up or loose all the way, and it is really difficult for me still to manage this up to tempo. So I'm going to show you the fingerings, and I'm just going to do it a little bit more relaxed than Tommy's pace. Here we go. So this is the first round. Now, the fingering isn't too difficult. You're starting on an open A string, then index finger 2nd fret, middle finger 3rd fret, pinky 5th fret. This is the only string where you will be playing 4 notes. Then it straight away shifts to a classic 3 notes per string pattern that the metalheads among you will surely know. It's sort of a staple of that genre. So here we go, one more time. A string, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret. In terms of actual pitches, it's A, B, C, D. Moving to the D string, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret, again using the middle finger, sorry, the index finger, middle finger, and the pinky. So it's basically the same fingering on each string. Open string, then index, middle, pinky, index, middle finger, pinky. Now I say pinky, I'm using the pinky for that 5th fret. Tommy himself, he already shifts to the ring finger for that 5th fret, because then we have to move up to the 3rd position. Shifting to the ring finger here actually makes the index finger already land or position himself in the 3rd fret, which makes it a bit easier to continue. I just noticed when I played the lick in this manner that this note, that F, was always unclear. It was either sliding across the fret or the note wasn't clear at all. So I just opted to play it in the more traditional way, and that is using the index finger, middle finger, pinky, and then swapping the index finger to the 3rd fret. If you think this is easier, index finger, middle finger, ring finger to the 5th fret to then shift to the 3rd position, then that works fine as well. One more time. With the pinky, the way Tommy does it. With the ring finger. Then moving to the G string, and then it's a symmetrical shape, the same thing each and every time. 3rd fret, 5th fret, 6th fret. Tommy does play this with the index finger, middle finger, and ring finger, and I sort of took it over just by transcribing it. You could just as well play it with the index finger, ring finger, and pinky if that seems like a better option to you. There's no reason behind this little section why that wouldn't work. So it's 3rd fret, 5th fret, 6th fret, and then moving that to the B string and moving that to the E string. 3 times the exact same thing. And then we're moving up to finish the lick to the 7th fret. That is the first note of the next bar. Let me play through that, counting along each beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now I'm counting this as 16 notes. If you transcribe it, you could also see it as 30-second notes, whatever tempo you view this in. But for the rest of this tutorial, I will always stick to counting this as 4 notes for each beat. It's just a little bit easier to explain things like that. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Ending up with the ring finger all the way on top on the 7th fret on the first beat. If you play it with the pinky, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, then you will have to move up the pinky 1 more fret for the next note. So that's maybe the only disadvantage of using the pinky. If you play it with the ring finger going up, you have the pinky left to play that note on the 8th fret. Then that last lick isn't too difficult. 3, 4. Using the ring finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last thing is just pull off, pull off, pull off to an open string. That is the basic lick. One more time in full. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you play it in this slow tempo, you really get a grasp at how slow that second bar feels once you get out of that first bar. That second bar really feels like a complete half-time timing. It's really, really slow compared to that fast run going up. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how slow that second bar feels if you couple it with that fast section. Now, the way you get this up to speed, I really wouldn't recommend trying this, if you're not used to fast alternate picking, to just try this as a very first experiment. You really need some good picking technique to give this even a slight chance of ending up right. But there are two ways in which you can approach this. The first thing is the way Tommy does it, and he uses strict alternate picking. Down, up, 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 down. If you do that, you start on a downstroke, and if you do it correctly all the way through, you will end up on a downstroke as well. Down, up, 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 down. Starting on the downstroke, ending on a downstroke. For people who are used to plain alternate picking, then this is probably the easiest solution to get it into your fingers. Getting it up to speed will take time. Unless you are a real metalhead who is used to shredding on an acoustic as well, even if you're used to doing this type of stuff up to Tommy speed on an electric, it really will take some time if you want to do this on an acoustic as well. Now, I know for myself that alternate picking isn't my strongest point. It never has been. I have worked really hard on it. And since I have been a subscriber to the Cracking the Code channel, if you do not know that and you're interested in technique, really check it out. It's a website and a YouTube channel dedicated to really analyzing every single aspect of the picking motion. And since I have been, or ever since I subscribed to that channel and also took a membership to the website, I've been really analyzing my picking technique. And I found that this was for me a lot easier to play using economy picking. So instead of using plain alternate picking, always going up and down no matter what happens, what I explained before, down, up, 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 down. Economy picking uses a very simple way of thinking, but it's not easy to get into your fingers at first. And the way they think is really easy. If you move to a thinner string, you always do this with a downstroke. If you move to a thicker string, you always do this with an upstroke. If you play it like that, then you would get this picking pattern. Down, up, the exact same thing. Down, up, down. And from that point on, things will start changing, because then I will do downstroke on the D string and another downstroke on the G string. And from there on, I will always repeat that same pattern. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, which is the indicator. If I have done it right, then I will start on a downstroke and I will end on an upstroke, the other way around as when you were using alternate picking. This eliminates a few times where you have to jump with the plectrum across the strings to play an upstroke. So when you play down, up, down, then I have to jump over the G string to get that upstroke going. And with economy picking, you eliminate that little jump and you just push on straight through downstroke, downstroke, and you do the exact same thing on the next string. If you have never used economy picking, again, this is not the most ideal place to experiment with that. If this seems like something that could work for you, check out the Cracking the Code channel, maybe go and look for some economy picking exercises as well. But first get the basic technique in your fingers before attempting this run. Anything close to the speed Tommy does it. I'm just going to give you one bit of advice. The main thing to watch out for if you're using or if you are attempting that economy picking trick is those two downstrokes back to back with each other should be one single movement. No two separate downstrokes, no downstroke, downstroke, no two movements, but just one big. As you can see in the picking hand, this is just one movement. Especially up to speed, it's like a really the smallest sweep pick you could imagine. That is the way I am playing this. So that's when you get this. that is what I am using. I'm going to address each double downstroke. Down, 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 down. The thing you should watch out for if you're using economy picking, since you are using a fingering in 3, so index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and you are using the same picking mechanic in 3 as well, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, then it's really easy to get lost in triplets, in playing this, the end of the lick in triplets, going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, while the rhythm should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that's also something to watch out for. Now, in short, really go on the lookout, see what works for you. Pure alternate picking or the economy picking approach, but whatever you do, if you're not used to playing these fast runs using alternate picking or economy picking, then be prepared to put in a lot of time to get this working. I was used to playing this. I played a lot of Vai and Satriani stuff when I was younger, so this was sort of buried in my picking hand somewhere, but I really had to work hard to get it somewhere close to what Tommy is doing, and playing it on an acoustic doesn't really help. One more time, those both options. Alternate picking, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and maybe just, I'm going to do this one more time. Focus really on the picking hand. See what the difference in movement is when using alternate picking, and then after that with the economy picking. So first the alternate picking, watch the picking hand closely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now the same thing with economy picking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You probably notice that when using the economy picking, as the term might suggest, that your movement is a lot more economic. You're not wasting any energy and just going for the most efficient picking pattern possible. Make a special effort to watch out for that big downstroke, so 2 strings basically with 1 movement, while at the same time making sure you are not rushing those 2 notes, because that is the biggest challenge when learning economy picking, is if you play those 2 strokes in the same direction, going down or up, there is always a tendency to rush that second note. Anyway, after that run, we're going into a sort of chord, Tommy calls it a flamenco chord section. You're moving into an open E chord, and then we're going to shift up and down using thirds on the D string and the G string, while keeping the B string and the E string open the whole time. This is what it sounds like. So it's only an open E string on the first beat, and then you're ending up on a little triad, 2nd fret on the D string, 1st fret on the G string, B string and E string will be open the whole time through, and you're moving up, just going over the fingerings real quickly. 2nd fret, 1st fret, going with the ring finger to the 4th fret on the D string, 2nd fret with the index finger on the G string. And basically the index finger will stay on the G string the whole time, and on the D string we will be switching between the ring finger and the middle finger. So 1st fingering, going to the 2nd fret and the 4th fret, going to the 4th fret and the 6th fret, going to the 5th fret and the 7th fret, and ultimately ending up on the 7th fret and the 9th fret. So this is the movement. Now the rhythm. Tommy sometimes or often starts this with a really quick triplet, which gives you one thing to watch out for. That is, if you play a triplet to start this section with, the chord that lands on the beat is played with an upstroke, which might feel a bit strange. There are also versions where Tommy just plays 2 16 notes. So either you get this with the triplet, 1, 2, 3, upstroke on the 3rd beat, which to me feels a bit strange. 1, 2, 3. Or you play just 2 16th notes. 1, 2, 3. And then you get just a downstroke on the third beat. Bit slower, the triplet. 1, 2, 3. 16 notes. 1, 2, 3. And then we move into the rest of the melody, and we're playing this in long triplets, quarter note triplets again, like in the beginning of the bridge. I'm going to leave out that first fast strum just to give you an idea of the rhythm when we start moving up the neck. Here we go. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So those last two chords are beats 3 and 4. Everything else in between are really long triplets. Again, with that first quick strum in front of it, let's try a triplet first. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then straight into the exact same alternate picked run. Just a little bit more up to speed, a little bit. Ending up on that same pull-off lick, and then we're moving into another section with those flamenco flavored chords. Again, using an open E string, an open B string, and an open high E string. And now we're going to move in thirds, starting on top of the neck. Index finger on the 10th fret, ring finger on the 12th fret. First, again, the movement from the 10th fret on the G string, the 12th fret on the D string, moving down to the 10th fret on the D string with the ring finger, middle finger on the 9th fret on the G string, and then index finger, 7th fret, ring finger, 9th fret, moving down to the 5th fret and the 7th fret, moving down to the 4th fret and the 6th fret. So back to back. Those are the chords we will be needing now. That first chord, if you play it slowly, will sound a bit dissonant. You have that F natural in there that will clash just a little bit with that open E string, which gives it the tension, but also if you really listen to it, or if you're practicing this slowly, that might start to really hurt your ears at a given point. So, but it's exactly what Tommy is playing. Tommy again starts with either that fast triplet going up and down, landing on the upstroke on the beat, or again you can swap it out with just 16 notes. The rhythm in the second part of this bit is a little bit more complicated than the first time around. This is what it sounds like. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the rhythm. Only that second bar. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the rhythm in the second part. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, starting with a triplet, and again you will land on that first chord with an upstroke, which with me always misses just slightly with my sense of timing. Here we go. 3, 4. Then moving into, again, another one of those alternate picked runs. We are starting in the exact same fashion. And now something will happen. As soon as Tommy hits that 7th fret, he starts sliding up towards the 13th fret. I was ready when transcribing this, just putting that note on the 7th fret, on the 13th fret, a slight signature or a slight notation in between those two notes, and just tremolo picking all the way. And then I started counting out the notes, or I was trying to find the exact timing Tommy uses, and then I watched the one of his own instructional DVDs. And I've mentioned this as well in the Pink Panther tutorial. It's really strange because Tommy is explaining in his tutorial video that he actually aims to play this. So as soon as he ends up on that 7th fret, he wants to play this. So he's not just tremolo picking and sliding up, he actually is aiming to play a chromatic scale, full speed ahead, using one finger and tremolo or alternate picking on one string. And the insane thing is once you know this and you slow down his recordings on YouTube, he gets incredibly close. The same thing in the Pink Panther. There is also this slide lick going up all the way with one finger all the way up the neck, and I think he only misses one note. There is only one of those notes along the way that isn't 100% clear, and everything else actually sounds like he's going fret per fret, fret for fret, all the way across the neck. I haven't got this down yet, so it's really difficult. It's sort of, I think it's a trick. Tommy has cracked this. The thing to watch out for is the slide should go quicker as you start, and starts to go slower and slower by the time you end up on the 13th fret, because the frets here are a bit wider than they are up here. So you have to cover more distance in the beginning than you have to do at the end. So the slide here should be a bit quicker and should slow down gradually while you are, or as you are approaching the 13th fret. The timing also is exactly correct. So if you count out this lick, that is the exact timing where Tommy lands each and every time, each and every version I have looked up to see if this really works this way. Yes, it really works this way. So try to get that movement up as clean as possible. It's not easy, especially when playing slower. This always sounds strange if you play it slow, but it's the exact same thing Tommy is doing. Here's my attempt at a slow speed. 3, 4. Really quickly, that last bar, if you end up with the ring finger on the 13th fret, straight back down to the 12th fret, 10th fret with the index finger, and then hammering on. And then Tommy really goes for an almost electric feeling vibrato on that high E string before transferring into the breakdown section. One more time, maybe a bit faster. So, like I said, doing this slowly, it always sounds strange. It always sounds wrong. It's something that I really still need to work on. But we have finished this part of the bridge. Let me play this really slowly, all the way through. And then I'm going to give you a bit of an alternative, because I do realize this is not for everyone. Here we go. The third bridge in full. 3, 4. That is the full third bridge. Now, these alternate picked sections or economy picked sections, however you want to view them, they are not for everyone. And I really can imagine that if you're a fingerstyle player and you've worked your way all the way through the song up to this point, that you might think, well, what is the point of even trying? I'm never going to get this down. Or you are looking maybe for a way to play the song in full while working on this section, but maybe you want to show it to your friends, or you want to just go through it every now and then. Well, there is a way to either skip this alternate picked section for good, or just temporarily until you get it into your fingers. And it involves that F chord. And we're going to just alter that section a little bit with one of the breaks we learned in the previous tutorials. mainly from one of the previous tutorials, one of the previous sections. We are going to add that in after that chord. We're going to play this 3, 4. Waiting there, and then from this point you can transfer straight into the breakdown section. Which is something I will cover in part 6 of the tutorial. But just so you know this, if you want to skip past this, that F chord gives you the perfect opportunity. Just an F major 7th chord to a G chord to a D chord with an F sharp in the bass. Coming from the rest of the bridge, it would sound like this. 3, 4. Just leave this ringing out, and then that is the last part. This is the breakdown section, the last new part, although you already know all the fingerings, but that is something for part 6. Next week we will finally conclude the whole Endless Road tutorial saga. In the meantime, good luck with this, be careful, don't overdo it, don't hurt yourself tensing up playing those fast lines, and I'll see you next week for the last installment. Bye bye.